Before becoming famous, Jared Leto worked as a dishwasher, got hooked on drugs, and was expelled from school. Actor, producer, clip maker, musician, singer, guitarist, and just an incredibly talented person. Jared Leto is a person with a complicated destiny. He is one of the few who simultaneously became both a world-famous singer and recognized by critics as an actor. However, how did he get to the status of a music and film legend? Selfless workaholic who spares neither his body nor his mental health for the sake of art. What difficulties did he have to overcome? How did Jared Leto become famous? Subscribe to the channel, because now we're digging into the history of the star hidden in the shadows. Jared Leto was born on December 26, 1971, in a dysfunctional family, which was abandoned by his father almost immediately after the birth of his son. At first, he lived with his mother, and then his father committed suicide. Everything seemed to work out when Jared's mother found a new husband, a USAF pilot who adopted his wife's sons and gave them his last name. However, this marriage did not last long as well. So as soon as young Jared Leto began to understand the need for money, he started to look for an opportunity to earn it on his own. Mom's money was obviously not enough for everything. At the age of 12, the boy found his first job. I think most teenagers today would be horrified at the thought of working in a diner for $1.50 a day. But that's not about Leto. His character was hardened from an early age, and it gave the results, because the boy soon discovered his incredible talents.
Take the song and rewrite it.
Although Jared's mother raised 4 children on her own, she still managed to pay enough attention to all of them. She also got into the company of hippies, so her children were raised quite freely and creatively. There often were companies of various artists, writers, and musicians gathered in her house, and therefore, the children quickly became fascinated by those ideas. Hit like if you love your mom. Jared was especially talented though. By coming of age, he had time to learn drawing and acting in an art school, and also music. He knew how to play the piano. He shot a short film on his own, in which he himself played the main role. That is, he mastered the work of screenwriter, director, and actor at the same time. And he was saving his first salary until he bought a guitar with that money. The guitar just became an integral part of his being. By nature, he was a very irresponsible child, and, for example, often did not attend classes at school. That's why he ended up being kicked out of that school. Well, and indeed, it turns out that many of today's stars were kicked out of school. Maybe there is some pattern in this? Tell us what you think about it. And then, childhood gave way to youth. Jared Leto had nothing to lose. His mother often changed places of living, so he didn't even have his home. One day, he just took with him the $500 he had earned, some clothes, and with this simple luggage, set out to conquer Los Angeles. Sounds like the story of a millionaire from the slums, don't you think? Ever since he bought the guitar, Jared dreamed of making it in the music industry. Nevertheless, he understood that the actor's career was more promising in terms of income and recognition. This is what makes a talented guy. You want to become an actor? You got it. Start a musical career? Here you are. Jared Leto's acting career is quite impressive. The boy, from the very first day of his arrival in Los Angeles, went to various film schools, and perseverance and natural data gave him the opportunity to play a small role in the sitcom Camp Wilder. But the series, My So-Called Life, gave Jared a real ticket to the big cinema. It was not just any series, but the picture that won the Golden Globe. Just imagine, an actor with almost no acting education and practice in his second picture plays a rather significant role in a film that wins a Golden Globe. From that moment, he didn't have to worry about earning a living anymore.
Wish me luck.
Offers came out one after another. However, the actor showed incredible restraint. He was taking up only interesting projects and never appeared in any lousy movie. His works were at least of average quality. Well, they also formed an idea about the acting craft, and so Jared has developed an aversion to rehearsals. He never rehearses scenes in advance. He considers it a waste of time. Roles in the films How to Make an American Quilt and The Last of the High Kings brought Leto to the list of young Hollywood talents. And the main role in the film, Prefontaine, the script of which was written for Tom Cruise, but since Tom Cruise could not be persuaded to film, it only made Leto very close to the Olympus.
God, I've been dreaming about this for so long. Tell me it's really happening.
Then there was a lot of work. It was necessary to gain experience of interaction with star colleagues and directors. Main roles in small films awaited him, and secondary roles in large-scale projects as well. Leto, for example, starred in the cult film Fight Club, and no less cult, American Psycho. But I bet you hardly remembered him in those pictures. But in 2000, Leto finally became a star of world cinema. The role in the film, Requiem for a Dream, brought him world fame and critical acclaim.
You're the most beautiful girl in the world.
Surprisingly, Leto still hasn't seen this movie. He does not watch the films in which he is shot at all because he feels inconvenienced from contemplating himself on the screen. It was a very strong picture though. A story about 3 characters, each of whom has a dream: to get rich or to open a boutique. But that's not the point. What is important is that all these dreams are crossed out by drugs and addictions that ruin life. It was in this film that Leto completely lived into his role for the first time. In order to understand the feelings of a drug addict, he himself began to use drugs, and he himself began to deliberately get into the company of various homeless and disadvantaged people in order to understand their feelings, to hear what they were talking about. Later, he would remember, "I met a girl on the street, and a few days later, her friend said that she died in the hospital from an overdose." Requiem for a Dream became an undoubted success. The problem of the fight against drugs was almost the main one in the USA in the 2000s. Therefore, the picture was discussed a lot. Leto's acting was highly praised though, and the name of the actor who was ready to give himself completely to the image for the sake of the role really got into the skin of the character he played, made a great impression on both directors and audiences around the world. No one knew that after filming, Jared Leto would have really serious drug problems. In a later interview, he admitted that drugs nearly ruined his career, that he used various drugs while still in school, and that only willpower allowed him to overcome his addiction. Anyhow, after Requiem for a Dream, Jared Leto became known to the world as a Hollywood superstar. In the future, he would get an Oscar for his role in the film Dallas Buyers Club, become one of the most ambiguous incarnations of the Joker comic book character in the failing Suicide Squad. And then it was high time for music.
Closer to the edge.
Even after becoming a famous actor, Leto never left his main passion, music. There are many Hollywood stars who like to play the guitar or piano. However, Jared is one of the few, if not the only, man in the world who was able to build a career in music as successful as in the movies. You must have heard about the band 30 Seconds to Mars. Whether you like their music or not is a secondary issue. The main thing is that Leto completely devotes himself to music in this group, even when there is a choice between music and movies, and it gives results. So far, 5 albums from 30 Seconds to Mars have been released, and probably each of them can be called successful. At first, the group performed only at warm-ups for big stars, and now Leto and the company go on their own tours around the world and gather whole stadiums with 140,000 or even more viewers. Jared says, "Music is a very confessional thing. For me, there is nothing more important than it. But it should be so, because it is impossible to devote yourself half-heartedly to music. When you write a song, you uproot a piece of your soul, and you give it away." Jared Leto is not only a musician, he is also the author of his songs and even the director of his music videos. This guy just has some phenomenal quality to be successful in everything he undertakes. Probably, only with his personal life, everything is not so smooth. Rumors often link Jared Leto with various Hollywood beauties. In the thousands, there were rumors about his romance with Cameron Diaz and about the couple's imminent wedding. However, Leto soon broke up with his chosen one. In 2004, Leto dated Scarlett Johansson. In 2008, the actor was even credited with an affair with Paris Hilton. There were also rumors about affairs with Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry, and also an attempt to flirt with Angelina Jolie. What a company, right? However, despite the chic selection of partners, Leto has never been married until now. Probably, it is influenced by his views. The actor is pretty serious about creating a family, and admits that he will marry only when he is sure of his chosen one, sure that their union will not fall apart at the first occasion, as it often happens with Hollywood stars. Jared also refuses any nude filming, even if millions of fees are offered. He is also a vegan, and it often takes months to get into the image, completely merging with his characters. He hates soap, and only uses shampoos. Not everyone can deal with it, right? He is neither afraid of loneliness nor of the uncertainty. He has already achieved almost everything that an actor, singer, musician, clip maker, screenwriter, or even director could possibly dream of. That's what Jared Leto is. Hardcore, sincere, crazy, and truly alive. A man of incredible talent who realized himself in many fields and became known to the whole world. This was Jared Leto's story. The story of talent, hard work, poverty, and rise. And we have many more stories of a kind about other famous people. So subscribe to Before They Got Famous so you don't miss our upcoming videos. And see you soon.